Welcome to Bragging Rights, sponsored by Comscaf and homed by Tribal. Please don't forget to like, subscribe on whatever or wherever you choose to watch or listen. And if you are on YouTube, please hype the video. We are at Season 3, Episode 26. And just so everybody's aware, before we jump in, we are recording early on a Sunday morning for various reasons. So there's going to be a few differences today between not having the full results of the weekend in, not going to have any disciplinary results, maybe not having some of the breaking news that comes through on a Monday morning, so please be aware of that. And I suppose we'll go around the room and ask how people are, starting with you in the corner. Jimmy, how are you, sir?
I've got glasses on, so I'm not good. I've got a dodgy eye.
Tinted glasses as well.
Have I?
Well, they've got a slight tint to them.
Fair enough. No, I've got a gammy eye, so I'm not allowed to wear contacts, so I'm pissed off because I don't like wearing glasses. That's me. Nothing to do with the fact that FC is shit or anything like that.
If anything, you look more studious than I've seen you for a long time.
I do,
That's because he's brushed his hair.
It makes me look more intelligent, whilst not
Looks can be deceiving.
Yes, yeah, definitely, yeah. I wish I could get glasses that made me look thinner, but apparently they don't do them.
Other people would have to wear them, not you.
No.
Have you tried in your house installing just like the mirrors that you get in like a fun maze? I'm good today, lad.
The bar Rob's got a car with a torque on it, so when fair comes around, I've got to nick it.
Oh, I thought you meant that's how he was going to get you there.
No.
That would have been quite. That would have been. I thought it was a very self-deprecating joke, and I thought that's nasty, Jimmy.
Really
We're going to move on from you. How are you, Abel?
Good.
Good week?
Yeah, steady.
Just steady.
Succinct as always.
We'll just pretend that we haven't been away for a week together playing golf, watching the Open. Just
That was
steady.
this week.
He's doing it as though it's next week, and he.
We'll move on from you. How are you, Craig?
Yeah, I'm alright, not bad. Crack one more.
Should I be the first one to mention it?
Crack on.
11:30 Sunday morning, just straight in with the pants.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock in Yangon in Myanmar, so crack on. Also Jakarta in Indonesia. I've got a couple more.
Bangkok.
Yeah, Bangkok and Hanoi, which are Thailand and Vietnam, respectively. So, when in Vietnam, do what the Vietnamese do, apparently.
Eat bugs.
Indeed.
Protein.
Fair.
Yeah.
Cracking. Shall we move on to game reviews then?
Do we have to? Can we just skip to the comments section?
Well, no, I'll just say.
I liked it last week. None of us wanted to do a game review, and then this week it's just exactly the same thing.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I'm grand. Thanks for asking the three of you. Let's move on to.
Yourself?
I asking myself. I'm not that selfish.
How is other Josh?
Good. We are going to start. I'll tell the listeners or the eagle-eyed viewers or listeners that might have noticed before that this year we've tried to do a swap every week where we'll review Rovers game first, then the FC, and then swap it for the next week. We're going to try it a bit different from now on, where we do it in the order of the games. So because Rovers played first, we'll do that first. We think it might flow a bit better, but we are open to seeing how it goes and if we get any feedback. But given that as we get into the closing parts of the season, well, we start getting to a bit of a tough part of the season, maybe not quite the closing parts.
Into the back nine.
The back nine. We'll have different games have different impacts on league positions and things like that, so probably makes sense to do it this way. So we will, unfortunately for us, we will start with the Rovers game versus Warrington at the Halliwell Jones.
We shall. And at the risk of sounding like Jimmy, it happened again. But no, we just had no answer to him, did we? Like that, we started off in that first couple of minutes where you know Mikey 40-20, the disallowed try from Gildart, which again it's just them I put in the group them 1%, them attention to detail, and it's just I seem to be repeating myself recently a lot, like saying it's the 1%, it's the discipline, it's the respect of the ball, and I just don't even know what to say. Like, apart from repeating the same sort of stuff, there's not too much else you can say as an overall sort of factor. And you know, you got to give credit to Warrington. They were probably not the favourites for this game, given how their injuries and things have gone recently. But the game we went there. They had a game plan and they executed it perfectly in that first half. The forwards rolled us down the middle, which I was very surprised with, given that we had Tom Amon and Dean Adley returning. So that was a bit surprising. But credit to Warrington, you know, and that pains me six. I probably hate Warrington more than I hate Hull. So,
wow.
Yeah, there's believe it or not, there's 2 or 3 teams I dislike more than I dislike Hull.
Look, I had mixed expectations going in.
Little brother out here,
Yeah, it's more annoying than actually worthwhile noticing. They went in, come back from a week away and was like, bit of mixed expectations. And the more the build up to the game came up, I was paying more attention to the golf, and then I was like, right, starting now, try and get ahead in the game. And I was like, sort of feels like a must win for both teams in a strange way, given how you could end up in league position at the end of the weekend. And then the pundits came on Sky, and they immediately gave us this graphic that was like excuses for Rovers. And I've got it, I saved it because I thought it was worthwhile. Robin's rocky road to defending their title. Haven't had an in-competition break since the 21st of July 2025. Had to play the World Cup Challenge versus Brisbane in February 2026. Following the World Cup Challenge, immediately had to travel to Las Vegas to play Leeds. Coach Willie Peters announced in March he was leaving at the end of 2026. In August, we'll play 3 games in 10 days. I was like, I don't want your excuses. We took all these on under our own steam. We get to play the World Cup Challenge because we won 3 trophies last year. We chose to go to Vegas. You know, all these things. We had now. Unfortunately, that's what happens to champion sides. And when you do so well, I mean, people look back and remember the Leeds side that won the treble in 2015 and forget the poor season they had afterwards. Because what you remember 10 years down the line is the treble.
Or what you forget, which led to their poor 2016, was the fact that a week before the season started, their training ground flooded. And they had to train elsewhere for the best part of the entire season.
All these things just become noise in 10 years' time. But right now, I read that, it come up on screen, I went, I'm not happy with that. I don't want excuses. We're playing a top 6 team, I've said we're having our trouble against, and we're playing poorly. And then we'll go out, and I expected a similar game to we'd had against other teams where we wouldn't really be up to snuff, but we'd stay in it and do enough to have a chance, or maybe lose, but maybe win. And in the first half, we was dreadful. And I've had some different opinions on this. One of them was, in fact, your old man, you know, Rovers fan Mike Abel, saying, like, I don't think we looked that bad. And the reality is, we actually didn't in some patches. When we had a chance and managed to not make errors or stupid mistakes, we got very close to scoring tries, and as you say, bounce a rugby ball sometimes and there's 1% go against you. But the biggest takeaway for me was, in the first half, Mikey's wasn't even a 40-20, it was like a 32. It was such a good kick. Was probably the only highlight to remember that was worthwhile. We still had the usual players that step up, and your Tom Davies and people like that put the effort in. But we looked disjointed, we looked knackered. And in all fairness, Wyer's game plan, for me, was perfect, and it was the same as how we struggled in the opening game of the season against York. We couldn't adjust to the quick 6 again. If the opposing team attacked our ruck repeatedly and a hooker could take advantage of it, which they did, you know, Walker had a great game for them on Saturday, all of a sudden we can't get back square, we're scared of holding on, we're scared of getting penalised, we're scared of making mistakes, which then lead to gaps. We can't get back in defending time. And yeah, they took their chances really well, and I sort of came away and went, could be a very long game. This is absolutely shocking. The first half is probably the first half of rugby I've seen us play in perhaps the past 3 years.
Yeah, just to quickly bring it back around to that first point there where it said we haven't had a break since, what did it say, 25 July. So that's a year. It's a squad game. We've got a squad of 20, 25 players maybe. I don't know the exact number. But we're not rotating. No wonder our players look knackered. Yeah, they've had an off-season. But we haven't used a lot of the squad. So we're going to look tired and we're going to look fatigued and we're going to force these errors and these, you know, give away these silly penalties. And it also seems like we're in a little bit of a hole where everything we're trying to do, we're desperate and we're trying to get out of this hole. But it just seems to be digging and making it a little bit deeper, which has been evident in the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely, and you know, the other thing for me was, there was a comment online, I haven't got it written down so I can't quote it verbatim, so forgive me any mistakes, but on that point that they'd made at the start about not having this in-game break since July 2025, somebody said you've got to go further back than that. You've got to say that in the team that's been building since 2022-ish has made it to semi-final of the Challenge Cup, semi-final of the playoffs. You know, all these different things where there's not a lot of breaks. It's rubbish. The reality is, what's going on right now is we've got older players that are tired, that are struggling to climb that mountain again. We have made some poor choices for me in putting people like Reece Martin in at centre, who obviously by his own admission feels as though his body's aging, he can't keep up because he's retiring at the end of the season. But you've got a ready-made replacement in Broadbent on the bench, who, when it goes to pot in the first half, we end up bringing Broadbent on. We've had to pull Martin off because we can see what's going on there. We're not covering those changes and injuries properly. We haven't rotated very well. And some of the players that we've brought in to hopefully help this, in like Tavita Ipangai Jr., we don't have because he's an idiot. And quite frankly, yeah, Rovers look like they're very much struggling, and something has to change, something has to give. And for me, unfortunately, it's a massive, massive distraction that Willie Peters was announced going as early as he was. And there's all sorts of rumours and rubbish flying around these issues at training, issues in the changing room and so on that Peters has come out and squashed. You get these in rugby league, you especially get them from across the city. The reality,
it's Derby week as well.
It's Derby week building up. The reality is, it is a big distraction. And I don't know what the club could have done to handle this better. Could they have done the interviews quietly and wait till the end of the season? Could they have announced Peters leaving at the end of the season rather than doing it early? Did we even have a choice in the matter? With it being an expansion team that's going to come out there in the NRL, and Peters is a big name signing for him, you know, especially after he's just won a treble and then this year he's won the World Club Challenge. It's a big scalp for an expansion team. Maybe we didn't have a choice in that. The reality is, all these things play a part, and what we need, get back to basics a little bit, maybe rotate a bit better and give some of these players more of an opportunity, because the second half, all right, it finished 12-all, and we was a bit better. We made the game not even quite respectable, but we didn't get nil and we managed to get some points on. But the reality is, it was a really poor showing, and now we find ourselves, okay, outside the top 6 of a game in hand, but we have got 3 games in 10 days coming up, and one of them is back against Wyre.
Luckily, that one's at home, I believe.
It is, yeah.
Hopefully, home advantage might pay off for us, but obviously it didn't against Wakefield last week. It's just frustrating, isn't it? Because like, it's such a huge drop-off from what we've been seeing. Even when we weren't winning things, but we were competing, we were playing well, and people were enjoying watching us. And then now we've just had this humongous drop-off, and something needs sorting out before we end up going. I'm not saying it's going to go as far as that, but look at Huddersfield. We said we didn't want to go like Huddersfield or Castleford after we'd had it. No, that's what I just said. I don't want it to get that far, and I don't think it will. But in terms of drop-offs, that's what we're having. You know, we've gone from holding all 4 trophies to being outside the top 6.
Next season, we finish bottom with 6 points.
Maybe, who knows?
It's not that bad, and that's why I think some fans need to just give their head a little wobble. Like, the reality is,
a big wobble, according to
you know, the big one is, let's talk about that. You're having a Leicester like Premier League style season, and it's just a jab. We are tall poppy right now that the rest of the league wants to cut down. The reality is, as I said, it's been a squad building. 2023 semi-finals, 2024 finals, 2025 won everything, 2026 won the World Club Challenge, been to the Challenge Cup final. Let's just reset ourselves and be serious about where we're at right now. At the end of the season, if we don't make the playoffs, I think there's definitely a conversation to be had that says, something's gone wrong here and this is an unsuccessful season in many ways. But the reality is, that's not where we're at. And I think we just have to get ourselves back in and say, there's more to it than just us. Let's see if we can get it sorted. We have always said that Peters has never not got an answer out of us. This, for me, is the first time we've had 2 on the bounce. We didn't get an answer this week. We see what happens on Thursday night.
I think for me, like, I know I mentioned, it might have been last week or the week before, I made the Leicester comparison of you're going to win and then you're not going to win anything after.
Then we're going to get relegated 2 leagues.
I actually think it's a little bit different to that, especially when you look at it from what Josh is saying, you know, semi-final, all these semi-finals that you've been in and whatever. And I know it's not quite to the level of what he achieved, but it's starting to feel a bit more like a Fergie leaving United, because I'm looking at your squad and I'm thinking, is Peters leaving your squad in a position where whoever's taking over is actually going to be able to do anything with it? Because you have got the aging players, you've got players leaving, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, who's coming in? Because you didn't replace the 2 people that you needed to replace at the back end of last season in JWH and Mickey Mack. And now, well, who's coming in to replace the people that are going to leave this season and fill that gap? It almost feels like your squad as it is, that treble winning squad, that squad that's reached all these finals, this is the end of that rotation, and I feel like there's too much to to try and change, or too many players to try and replace for that to continue. It's going to take a lot of effort for it to continue. And I'm not trying to dig or anything like that. I'm not saying, oh, you're going to do a United and then you're not going to win anything for another 20 years or whatever. But that's what it looks like more so to me than the Leicester comparison.
We're not going to know, are we? And we have to understand that when Kalis comes in, let's see, this is 2 bad games in a run of, we had a minute with the champions, and that's why everyone's targeting, and that's why it's such a big deal. So let's just wait and see how the season ends up and goes on. If we drop out of it, there's a bigger discussion to have, but there's still a chance to stay in the 6. And quite frankly, I'm not that worried. It is what it is. I mean, the one thing that was making me laugh was, I keep hearing this comparison. And you said, don't be Huddersfield. FC are the Huddersfield. That's the reality. You've just done nothing but got worse and worse and worse. And for the last few years, you're just bottom dwellers. You're second from the bottom. And the 2-3 teams that have been promoted have now beat you. And actually the reality is it's deflection from FC fans trying to say, shit, someone's going to call us Huddersfield if we don't call Rovers it first when they sit 2 points outside the top 6 with a game in hand. So I think you've got to remember that sometimes. There's a lot of attention on us. And look, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we have to talk about Mikey Lewis.
Go on then.
Yeah, he definitely delivered a headbutt. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. His late shot was as bad as Hiku's. So he definitely needs a ban for that.
I think it was probably worse than Hiku's in the fact that there was already a tackler in there.
Passed the ball,
and the guy was
Mikey
stood still.
His arm back,
and he was stood still. The guy was stood still. The one from Hiku was still moving.
The referee even said to him, he says, you could clearly see that ball had gone. There was no need.
Yeah.
He's already on 4.5 points. There should be a couple of games for the headbutt. I think it's 3 was the going rate at the minute for what somebody got before game for that. We could lose him for 3-4 weeks. I made a comment online, I've saved it because I got a good response that I enjoyed, but it pretty much sums up for me. I see a million comments about, oh, Mikey's a liability and he offers less to Rovers than he gives and all this. Again, fucking won a treble last year with this guy. So let's just remember what we've achieved before we start bagging him. He's had a poor last 5 or 6 games, but he was still in Man of Steel runnings up until then. It's just recency bias remembering that. But I still believe he's had a bit of a poor season overall in many ways, up and down. I said, ban definitely incoming for that late tackle on the headbutt, absolutely not needed. Something has to be done for Mikey Lewis to get into his head that no matter what's happening to you, whether you're having a poor performance, the team's having a poor performance, whether there's off-field issues that we don't know about at home or with the club, whether you've got fans chanting idiotic chants about your son, no matter what it is, I don't care. He has to learn how to ignore that, channel it in the right way, and use it to get better and play better and shut the fans up and shut the people around him up by playing well. And we felt he'd turned that corner last year and now he's regressed and done a lot of stupid things. I said, we've actually seen this happen with Jake, the Snake. We've seen it happen with Jake Connor. Now there's an argument to be made that Jake was never quite as bad as Mikey. Depends on which set of fans you ask. But Jake Connor has managed to turn this around now. And actually, a bloke came back to me, he was a Warrington fan, and said, Jake only sorted himself out under Brad Arthur. He wasn't able to do it under any other coach. And before that, he was an absolute head case, and will probably be a head case under another coach who was in Arthur. I'm hoping the NRL come for him this year, and he becomes a liability in the NRL. Long discussion to be had on that. It's not just the coach. I think there's a maturing bit, there's an ageing bit. I think there's less attention on Jake Connor after he dropped and went to you and Huddersfield and wasn't actually in good squads for a while, or was in a good squad then wasn't when he went to Huddersfield, then Leeds didn't win out for a year or two. But my point on that stands, I truly believe we need to do something serious for Mikey to help him channel this, because otherwise it's going to be a massive waste of potential. And there's always going to be eyes on him because he gets too much attention from Super League and from the commentators. But anyways, knobhead.
Dick of the week.
Dickhead of the week.
I don't think there's anything else I can add to that. I think you've pretty much summed that up brilliantly. So, just finish on a quick Rovers roundup then. The reserves, they beat Leigh 32 points to 6, which was probably the only positive of the week that I can see. The Scholars lost 26 points to 44 to Castleford. And then, as usual, as has been my ongoing gripe for a few weeks, there was three games yesterday. The girls under 15s played at Siddle, no result to be found. The wheelchair played at Swinton, no result to be found. And also the LDRL enjoyed a festival at Wakefield, also no results to be found. So
I do LDRL, I don't think results are required. I think it's like Masters.
Right,
I don't think LDRL. PDRL do.
Right,
I don't
okay.
think LDRL
Fair
record
enough.
results.
Well, I'll take that one back then, and I just hope they all had a great day and just
FC
enjoyed the
involved in
rugby.
that as well, so,
Right,
yeah.
okay, fair enough. Cheers for that.
Bragging Rights is proudly sponsored by Comscaf. Hull's own Comscaff have been keeping things safe and steady for over 30 years, providing professional scaffolding services nationwide. If you need a team you can trust for your next project, big or small, head to comscaff.co.uk or give them a call on 01482 782 181.
Well, yeah, let's talk about our game then. I think the first 40 definitely deserves a sigh like I gave last week, and maybe not as big as the sigh that Craig gave before your game. But
I had to exacerbate mine though because I don't do it that often.
Used to losing.
Yeah.
I would say, like last week, I said that 60 minutes, the first 20 and the last 40 at York were the worst 60 minutes I've seen. I'm actually going to take that back. I think our first half against Leigh, that's the first 40 minutes, the worst 40 minutes I've seen. I think that was actually worse than the York game.
I think that's fair.
I'm not so sure it was. I just think it was a better team. It's still absolutely awful,
maybe, but as a fan,
yeah,
watching it, that's what it felt like. It felt like it was worse. But then to contradict that, the second 40 was the best we've played in weeks.
Yeah.
At least for 25, 30 minutes of it.
It's frustrating knowing that that's in there, but
it makes it worse.
It's all just down to the players seem to do it when they want to do it, and that isn't for as much as they can do in a week, or as much as they can do in a game. So like 60 minutes plus. Not many teams play a full perfect 80 minutes, do they? But
is this the first time you've met Aidan Caesar? He can do it when he wants to.
I'm not going to get into Caesar. Like, as far as we're aware, he's leaving. So there's no point wasting time reviewing what he does or doesn't do. But interestingly, I don't know what it was like on Sky. I can't remember too many moments where the captains were called over to the ref, but Ardaker ran out first. And obviously I didn't remember seeing any moments where he called the captain over, but was Ardaker captain? Do we know?
I didn't notice anything, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. But
I said to Dean when he ran out, I was like, Ardaker's out first, is he captain? And then the other kid that we went with turned around, oh, maybe you just overtook him. I was like, that's a bit disrespectful if he did overtake your captain before you get onto the field.
I don't think captains run out first, do they? Because at Rovers, our backs come out first.
What? Onto the field, like as you're entering.
Do you mean to kick off?
Yeah, kick off.
Oh, to kick off. I'm on for warm-ups.
Oh yeah, backs always come out first. Yeah.
There was two incidents that come to mind. One of them is FC players are complaining about a Leigh try in the first half, probably the last one we scored, potentially the last one we scored. Hardacre, well, I don't know if he might be in trouble for this. He does touch the referee, similar to what SCSA did, but just a hand on my shoulder. But I think it was more of a brush, not trying to cause any shit.
Dulled that down.
Yeah, I think it was just more of a.
Yeah.
But Hardacre did speak to the ref as a lot were complaining, so that could have maybe potentially said he was. I'm not sure. Then in the second half, in that same half, same half. Don't know. There was one where Caesar's doing his complaint to the referee. But I didn't know if that was just his general, I'm upset about something. I don't know.
I don't want to get too far into it, but I mean, if it has come to the point where he's turned around and said, actually, no, Zach, you're the captain, right? That's a bold move, especially from an interim coach.
Especially if you keep playing Caesar as well.
Especially if you keep playing him, yeah. But anyway, I mean, moving on to the game, there's not a whole lot to be talked about. It's same.
Yeah, we are our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
Literally, I think we had one good set at the start. I think I was like, oh, we actually completed a set, put the kick down, like had a reasonable set in defence, to follow up, and then after that it was just like, oh yeah, another soft penalty, another mistake when we've got the ball.
You even said that you was like, when are we going to complete a set, more than one set in a row?
Yeah.
Because we didn't in the first half. I think it was like, we maybe completed a set, then the next set we had the ball, we'd give away a penalty, the next set we'd make an error or whatever. We never completed multiple sets in a row in the first half.
I mean, I think we had 11 total sets of possession in the first half. When I grabbed the stats at half time, it was 11 total sets, and we completed 7.
That's just not good enough.
And we had 31% possession.
That's a story in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just highlights how much, don't get me wrong, Leigh did a lot of good things with the ball and punished a poor team, but it was because we were poor. Yeah. We just kept giving them ball, giving them field position. It was infuriating.
In the first 10 minutes, I thought that Bell was on the take. It was like, I'll rake this ball with freedom of tackle and then look innocent. I'll just do his late shot. Oh, I'll just knock it on. Oh, I'll stand in the way of the guy. I was like, is this guy is he actually going to play for Leeds? Is this what's good? And it's one of them things, like you say, there's not so much to say because the performance is so dire in that first half. And I mean, Dean mentioned in the chat, but we all heard the boos at 34 minutes when they scored the try from the FC fans, and rightly so. But when Dean said there was a couple in front of you guys in the stadium that you'd seen forever going, that left at half time,
and they stuck out the full 2024 season.
Yeah, they won't be in the.
They literally were on the same rows as us, sit next on. I know it's on reserve, but we all get there early. We all sit in exactly the same seats every week, and yeah, I mean, one of the lads that was with us, Lano sits with us, and at half time he was like, just going to go down for a piss. But if the line's really long, I might not make it back in time. And then 5 minutes into the second half, he's not appeared. And he just messaged Dean, he was like, queue's real long, mate.
But the thing is, I'm not surprised. The reality is, you can easily make the argument and stand here, and I could sit here and say, I'd never leave Rovers early, blah blah. But if you watch that and you take everything else into account, the other performances of the last few years and the last few weeks, and you see that in that first half, I can fully understand why a few people went, it's a Saturday night in July, see you later, pal.
I mean, I did it in 2024, and I know at the time we were a fresh pod, and I told Craig, I think it was before you joined, Josh, I told Craig, and I said, let's not put it out there, let's not make people think, 6 months into a new podcast that the people that are recording aren't interested. But I said to Dean at half time, I says, I'm going, I have got better things to do with my time than watch this. I've paid, whatever, the club can keep that, but I've got better things to do with my time, and I fully understand why people might do it. And I was sat there at half time, and Rachel messaged me, she was like, this ain't great, and I was like, I wish I could leave. She said, well, why don't you? I was like, I've got a podcast to record. If I didn't do this podcast, I would have left at half time. But on the same side of things, I'm glad I didn't, but I'm also more frustrated because I had to stay, so I stayed. I watched the second half, so I watched it. And it was great to watch some of the rugby that we're capable of playing, but watching that rugby frustrated me more.
Yeah. If you're bad just because your players are bad, that's
you can understand that.
You can say we put everything into it and we're just bad. We're 40 points worse than whatever team's just put 40 on us. Fair enough. We're bad, but we're not that bad. And it's just infuriating seeing in the second half what the team's capable of when they actually put the mind to it.
I think it's arguably worse than 2024. 2024, you looked at that squad some weeks and you thought, nah, there's no chance. It's kid. Experienced player, kid. You know what I mean? This, now, you've got Price, Asiata. Who else is missing out of 1 to 13?
Not many, is there?
I think that was your argument last week, wasn't it, Josh, where if you actually break it down and look at the Hull injuries in the 1 to 13, or you'd class as a starting 13, there wasn't, I think it was like 5 all between Rovers and Hull last week.
Yeah, it was, and it was one of those things of it was like two houses burning down, and the Rovers and Hull fans were trying to throw a fire at each other. And it's like, focus on putting your own fire out. And one of the old points last week was, we've got more injuries than you. And it's like, well, no, you actually didn't for the derby. When you broke, I was like, well, no, actually, I want to change the criteria. We wouldn't pick him to start, even though he's got the number 8 shirt. And it's like, right, whatever then. The reality is, focus on what you're doing. And this is why earlier on, look, it's like I'm doing it and I don't mean to, but you are much more of a Huddersfield-like team, because look what Huddersfield do every year. They have these performances, they pick up a few scalps along the way, beating good teams somehow almost miraculously, or now all of a sudden, like Wigan this week, they've got such a good fight in them to have a respectable score against the team placed in second, but they don't win. Leigh are a team on the rise and you've managed to do this second half performance against them, but the reality is, it comes to nothing. It leaves you second bottom in the table by the grace of Huddersfield being so poor for so long. And I just think, I don't know, I'm really intrigued for you as a club to how long the good faith lasts and whether next year your season pass tickets are enough, as high as this year, And the hype of another rebuild under McNamara is going to do it, because I'm with you on this. I'd be more frustrated, Jimmy, with the fact that you could do that second half performance on the back of the first half than if you just played shit for the entire game.
I obviously talk to a lot of old fans. I know that there's old fans out there that are 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old season ticket holders that are questioning more so now than they were in 2024. And I think it is because of that. It's because there was a lot of grace given in 2024 because of the situation, the injury situation. Yes, we've had a shed load of injuries this year. We've had a departing coach, fair enough, same as 2024. But the difference this year is we've not turfed out a load of players like we did in 2024. We're letting them go at the end of the year by all accounts, and we're bringing players in next year. You look at that squad now, and I have to expect that those players that are still good enough to play Super League, that are still looking to earn new contracts for next season in Super League, should be able to string a performance together for more than 20, 30, 40 minutes and compete against your likes of Bradford and York and Toulouse and, well, maybe not Toulouse at the minute, but Huddersfield. You know, we should be able to. It's not, and people can turn around and say, oh well, we've lost Price. Yes, we've lost Price. Yes, he has a massive impact from that one position in the way that he plays that. Fine, stop trying to play that way then. We still try and play in a way where we bring Moy in the same way that we'd bring Price in, and Moy's nowhere near the level of player that Price is. No disrespect to him, that's just facts, that's just the way it is. He could be if we played a different way, if we played Moy in that more of a shawl kind of, let's play off the shoulder of the props instead of trying to link in around the outside in the same way that you could get out of Connor, you could get out of Rankin, you can get out of Price. Moy has to change, or we have to change the way that we're utilising Moy. And it's not just Moy, I know, but he's one of the ones where it's like it makes it apparent that we're just still trying to play the same system that John Cartwright put in place in pre-season. That's not working.
Yeah, I mean,
fundamentally.
Do you make things worse trying to change it mid-season though?
Can it get anywhere?
Probably not, but
your season's gone. Your season has gone, and it's done. And the point being is, I feel as though what I'm talking about is like everyone's their own person. FC fans can make their own opinion on this, but FC fans deserve more, right? And call themselves a big club and go on about all this stuff. They've taken the piss out of the fans with these performances on field. And quite frankly, I don't think they can do any more damage. But I think anyone that's got half a rugby brain would quite enjoy, for this closing part of the season, the next 8, 9, 10 games, whatever it is, you actually tried something. And I'm not talking about just for a new thing. I'm talking about changing stuff up, trying something different, not trying to reinvent the wheel as such. But should we try this play here? Shall we try and change the way we attack? We know Caesar's going, so let's actually get him out for half a game. Right, why don't we give Kemp half a game? And then answer those questions in the media. Instead of, let's just keep trying the same thing, having 20, 30 minutes in a performance, and then being disappointed as fans again. And maybe that might buy some more faith for next year.
And I also think, and I know quite rightly, he's got himself a couple of Player of the Match awards, and I'm back on Moy, not on him, but I'm using his name because he's one of the players that I think if we change the way that we played or change the way that we utilised him as a player, it's going to benefit him because he looks good sometimes doing what we're asking him to do, and he's got a good couple of man of the matches or player of the match, whatever you bloody call them. If we changed that and said, right, no, start hanging off the shoulder of people like SASA, people like Hugo at the minute, who's really churning it in, start hanging off their shoulders. And what I want to see is SASA going in and then Moy going through the line, whether he gets the ball or not, going through that line, waiting for that offload, because that's the moments when Moy's going to break the line and he's rapid, he ain't going to catch it.
Slippery customer.
But at the minute he's still doing that sort of pivoty loop around, getting the ball in before the centres, and it's not working. It's not doing him any favours.
Well, we know it's not working, the ball don't get to him quick enough because you've got poor distribution from half. But what will work is hanging off the back of people like Slabio, what's his name, is it? Slabio, isn't it? maybe even once or twice for me he's playing poorly, but SASA, he's still trying that, he's turning to get the offload off.
I actually think he played better this week, he's improved.
It still looks to me like he's not 100% fit,
He's
if
not.
I'm being honest. I don't know, but what I mean is obviously he came back. He came back, and obviously it was at that point we were sort of struggling for forwards anyway, so it was a big improvement on what we had. And after the first couple of weeks, there hasn't been like, as the match fitness got there, I expected him to get better. And he still looks a bit like he's running in treacle at times.
Thing is, last
You
year
tell in the warm up, when they're running out onto the pitch, all the players they sort of come out, they run to the east stand, and they do the loop around. SASE, he goes straight from the tunnel to that corner, and he's running in treacle as he's running out for the warm up.
the thing is, last year with SASA, he got all the plaudits and he got a lot of Man of Steel points go up there because he had better match fitness and he made good runs, but he offloaded like a demon. And despite whatever banter going back and forth, he's not as good as he is, or he's better than that, whatever fans say, the reality is, he's such a big man, his offloads, coupled with the fact that in a game he could do 15-20 minutes of good runs, made him a force to be reckoned with. The offloads are maybe starting to creep back in this week. I mean, there was one funny one where he obviously tried to do a big shot on Horn, and Horn managed to get the ball dislodged. But apart from that, but if you have Moy hanging off the back of them, he's probably going to be better than what you're doing now, because I agree completely.
You got any final points?
Nothing else beyond what we've talked about, I don't think. So.
Alright then, we'll wrap up then. So, FC's results then, we've got the women played last Sunday, so this was happening while we were recording last Sunday. 26-22 victory away at Widnes. Then we've got the under-16s played on Thursday as well. They ran out 40 points to 4 winners away at Wakefield. That's the last game of their season. They got 7 wins from 8. And the girls, unfortunately, yesterday ran out 34-12 losers at home against Nottingham.
Should we have some news from around the Rugby League world, gentlemen?
News from around the world.
Thanks, mate. I think it's a poor one. It's Sunday morning, Sunday dinner time. There'll be a lot out tomorrow, and we can't talk about disciplinary or anything. So, you found that one yourself, viewers and listeners, and we'll go from there.
I think it's now 5 o'clock in Perth, by the way.
No time for a second part. The NRL and Super League talks are set to ramp back up in the coming weeks. You know, they're possibly restarting even now as we talk. There's some major questions that need to be answered this time around. What's the time frame for sorting this out? What are the red lines? What are the goes and no-goes? What sticks where? Who actually runs the Super League? Is it a commission? Is it the Super League? Is the NRL off the back of this? What's the NRL's view of the number of Super League teams, the teams that are in there? How do they think of London Broncos? Do they definitely think they need to be up? Who will go down? There's so many questions. Also, there's just been a massive NRL TV deal, which we haven't talked about in the news because it's sort of crossed over the last few weeks. How does that look for a Super League TV deal as well? What does that look? There's so many that needs to be answered. And I think, this is relevant news because it should be happening in the next few weeks. I think we, as Rugby League fans, and paying season ticket holders to Super League clubs, need some insight to this to understand what's going on.
Absolutely.
I agree. That TV deal as well, it's massive. It's like, we did a comparison in a group chat, and it's on the same level as like Ligue 1, French professional football league. It's on that level, and that's like in the top 5 leagues in Europe. Like nowhere near the Premier League or La Liga, but it's right up
Still
there
in
with
the
like
top
Ligue 1,
5, yeah.
Serie A. Like, it's mental.
Speaking of London, they've put their name forward of Lincoln Broncos to go to Vegas in 2028.
Got to get Super League first.
Do they? Doesn't have to be a Super League game out there. They could play an exhibition game. Maybe they'll take another team from the Championship if London don't come up.
London versus Toronto Wolfpack in a friendly.
Stop living
I'll
in
pull
the
my
past.
shorts on. Not my boots.
What,
just
to
my
watch?
shorts. Yeah.
Full kit wanker.
Yeah.
Just more. Like, I don't want to use the word evidence, but evidence is the best term here. That London generally feel they're coming up in some way or the other, despite what we're hearing on the contrary. And I think that knowing Rugby League and the way stuff's announced, we'll probably find out a week before next season rather than finding out this year or in the off season. But that's what's going on.
But as long as they find out early enough to be able to make changes to their playing staff, to their coaching staff, and you know, to be able to put these processes in place, as long as they know, I don't think we need to know until that point.
They do know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. They need to know more than we need to know.
Right now, I think this moment, if we're in the back nine, this point of the season, this is where we should be told as fans and as clubs, this is the makeup of Super League next year, because that gives you more than enough time, just about now until November, to get your players sorted for next season. Any later than this, any changes that are made between now and the end of the season, for me, too late.
Yeah, what I meant was I don't necessarily think the fans need to know. The clubs need to know.
Definitely do, yeah.
We'll wait and find out. And my final point, cheeky on this, news, but just a little one to throw in because I enjoyed it. And there might be some news out the back of it next week, but maybe Darryl Powell and Carl Haggerty might be finding themselves in hot water for comments about the game, not so much the referees. So Haggerty for Bradford had come out and said that there was a decision. He said the game has 4 or 5 big moments that impact the way a game is shaped in a game of rugby league. There was an incident on the 22nd minute and I don't know what happened and why it was penalised. Maybe that will do. But my favourite one of this was Darryl Powell came out and compared the Sky Sports TV cameras to a Nokia 3310. And this was off the back of their 26-12 win over Bradford this week. Now, for you younger listeners, that is a phone that you probably will not understand, but it's known as a brick for a reason.
Didn't even have a camera on it, I don't think.
No, God.
The 3330 did, but not the 3310.
Yeah, well before the cameras. Might have even been Snake and not Snake 2. Now, I'm not saying they will get in trouble.
Was Snake 2.
Was it Snake 2?
3210 was Snake.
Good memory, you're older than me. But yeah, I'm not saying they're going to get in trouble, but it's good to hear the coaches sometimes coming out and complain about what we're complaining about again. And just tying it all back into the original point. Investment for the NRL, can this go somewhere on technology as well to help us?
I think we said it yesterday. I said it a lot yesterday. When you look at the cameras that they've got in the corners, they're about this big, and they're about this long. And then you go to City, and even in the Championship when Sky are recording, and the cameras are like this big and this long, and like that for me, from Super League, from the RFL, from the NRL, if they come in time. It has to be something that they put on the table to any company, whether it's DAZN, BT, Sky, whoever. It has to be said that if you want this deal, you need to guarantee these amount of frames per second, these amount of pixel resolution. It has to be set in that deal. And for me, 60 frames per second has to be a given, at least. So.
Well, another one, let's wait and find out. But them comments tickled me in a poor week for both teams from Hull. It's nice to have something to giggle about.
How can he get done for comments on it? He's not even slagging off the game, he's slagging off Sky.
I think I was just trying to find an excuse to stick it in my news section.
Oh, fair enough.
That was Rugby League news from around the world today.
Okay, so big thanks to Tribal for hosting, feeding and watering us a lot of the time. They look after us every time we do it, which is every week. I still don't know about the off-season, I ain't asked that far yet, because I ain't got that far.
Jimmy can only tolerate me for 9 months.
Okay, fair enough. And on the food note, if you've got an FC or a Rovers season pass, you get 10% off an order with food and drink on it. There is also the usual sport on this week, so all the rugby league's going to be on. I'm not aware of any other sporting events as the World Cup ends.
Argentina, Spain tonight, if we get this out quick enough.
So I'm not sure about anything else this week, but at the very least there's the Rugby League on, so come down and watch. Big thank you to 7 Gold Vodka as well. I have now had the privilege of tasting it after our week away last week.
Just take bottles.
I still don't like vodka, if I'm being honest, even if it does taste good to everyone else, but that's just me.
Great to stick that in the promo, isn't it? Yeah, they're all right.
I mean, I'm not a vodka guy, so it's not for me, but I mean, you guys all like it and rave about it, so it has to be pretty good. So, even if it's not for me. And yeah, next time you're in trouble, ask about it, have a shot, buy a bottle if you can. And that's it, pretty much, guys.
Good effort, right? That's me now, innit? This is Dean's abandoned us. Comment section. 2 questions. We'll do the more serious one first, and then we've got a bit more of a playful one from our good friend Barry to finish it off.
Yes, Bazaar.
So the first one then from Dave Goldspink. Great podcast as always. Cheers, lads. Do you think the amount of injuries and head contacts this season, do you think with the amount of injuries and head contacts this season, teams should have 6 subs and 12 interchanges per game from next season? It would help with smaller minutes, allow more game time for squad players, helping blood youngsters and hopefully reduce impact on players. Thinking of players like Booth, Leyland and the Kemp brothers as examples from Rovers and Hull.
Purely from playing numbers, no. The squad quality is kind of getting down there in most squads once you get past the opening 20 players. Your match day squads and a couple of other sort of backup / utilities. I think you're already struggling for quality there. I think adding that many more players in without increasing caps or anything is just going to a recipe for disaster. Just on the amount of quality players that are available.
I'm inclined to agree.
I'm on Abel's side with this, to be clear. When I was really thinking about this question, I was like, I don't want to dilute the game further. We're going to have challenges in the near future with retaining young talent because the minimum wage in the NRL is so much bigger, and we already hear stories all the time about players leaving the sport to do quote-unquote normal everyday jobs, blue or white colour, outside of rugby league and outside of sport. I think that would be tricky, but I do think something needs to be done. So I do think there's probably an interim somewhere around here. We probably need to find a way to have maybe more subs, maybe more changes, but maybe bigger salary caps for better quality players, so we're not diluting the sport with poorer quality players overall. For me, I think we need to look at 2 things more importantly. I think we need more research and more funds to go into understanding what's happening with head injuries and what's going on there. There is a lot going on already in a lot of sports, but we need more. And then on a something we can affect as a governing body and as a sport, I think we need to have in the off season, we need to be reviewing the 6 again. I think we need to understand what we're trying to achieve here and where it goes right and where it goes wrong. It's not just because my team struggle with it massively. I think it's probably the most frustrating rule change we've had in the last 5-10 years in the sport. Everything else that has changed has kind of been moved back, fallen by the wayside in the end, or they've said we did it wrong and changed it back. But everything that's happened in the last 10 years, I would think, is by this point of the season, has not still been discussed as deeply as this has. And I even rank it over the captain's challenge, which I have my own griefs with. I think the 6 again needs an overhaul to understand what's going on with it for next year.
Yeah, I enjoy the 6 again rule. I think it's good. It's how it's policed.
Would you, as a fan, I agree, but as a player, would you like it? Think of it from a physical perspective as a defender. Potential. I think in the last derby at Magic, we ended up defending 3 consecutive sets. It's hard enough defending 6 tackles. Try defending 18. So answer it from a player's perspective, if you would.
Yeah, from a player's perspective, definitely. Obviously, well, from an attacker's perspective, it's probably better because it's a bigger break. But from a defensive, yes and no. Your discipline's got to be better. If you don't want to, excuse me, if you don't want to be defending those tackles, that amount of tackles, get out the ruck.
Let me caveat this.
I get your point, but the questions with regards to injuries.
So let me say, from the injury point of view, let me just caveat this with, this is my opinion, there isn't any medical knowledge going into this. It can't be good for a player to have to defend repeated sets multiple times a game, having to bend your back and put your head in that position more and more times. Now, statistics might say that throughout a game, you're involved in 35 tackles on average going forward, and you're tackled on average 15 times. So that is 50 incidents where you could potentially have an injury or even a head injury. But with fatigue and with the way it's going and repeat 6 agains, surely we are introducing teams that are getting dominated and can't play to the 6 again rule better than the team they're playing. They have to defend more sets, especially when you're on the line, you have big crash balls, you have more defenders sticking their head in, trying desperation to stop. It can't be good for players, and that must add to people having more injuries and more fatigue, especially if you manage to successfully defend 18 tackles and they attack your side on 15 of them and you're involved, then immediately you're being told to go up the field, you're fatigued, you're carrying a knock, you then make a mistake and you're back defending again. All it creates is more attacking rugby, which is fine. That's what they want. People want to see tries scored because they want to grow the game. But the reality is rugby league isn't just a game of scoring points. It's a tactical game of defending points as well, and how you can feel 2 teams out. And for me, there's more to it than just thinking six again has to be there or don't get. It needs redoing, it needs policing better, and it needs a clearer set of strict rules so that we as fans understand it as well, and then with a mindset for player protection as well.
Yeah, I think. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, a question like that needs, for us to be able to answer it properly, it needs, like Josh has said, there's no scientific research behind whether the six agains are leading to more injuries or not. I mean, it appears that way on the face of it.
Sorry, start of the season was these six agains are leading to ACL injuries. Was it ACLs? That was the conversation first. Where's that conversation gone? It's switched now to, is it because of head injuries? Because we're having a load. Is the six again just responsible for that? We don't know, and we need research into it.
Yeah.
So I'll give my answer. Obviously, like, you guys might not have all the statistics, but I am wearing glasses. It makes me more intelligent. I am developing them as we speak.
Yeah, but you're an FC fan, so it only brings you up to us.
No, so the question obviously is, do we need 6 subs? Do we need 12 interchanges? I agree. No, 6 subs, too many, diluting the quality that you get out of the field. So no, keep it as 4 subs. What I would like to see is, as it stands right now, if you get smacked in the head and it's a legit tackle and it's it's fine tackle, but like Lytton against you, his head gets it into the ground. It's not anyone's fault as such. It's fine, but he's got off with an head injury. Your 18th man isn't allowed in. But if Mikey headbutts someone,
If it's foul play,
your 18th man's allowed in. I would like to see a way that stops the amount of players on the bench getting reduced. Because what happened to Saints a couple of weeks back, where they were like, oh, we lost so many players for head injury or for injury or whatever, and now we've used all our interchanges. Then they had to play with 12 because that head injury interchange had to go back off because they didn't have an interchange there to put him on.
I think that was a Wigan game at
That
Manchester.
crap, that's awful.
Yeah.
I think you get 2 players injured, your 18th man gets brought in instantly, regardless of where they're from, because you've still got 3 on the bench. And I would go as far as to say is, if you get another 2 injuries, you should be naming a 19th man anyway. Get him in. I think maybe that's something that they could do to reduce in that area. And when it comes to the 6 agains, I would get rid, because I mean, I was never the fittest player anyway, and I played on the bloody wing. Like, you met me defend a set where I don't even have to tackle anyone, but I've got to run back 10, then go forward, then go 10. Like, I was knackered all the time. Like, you met me do that 3 times in a row, and I'm fucked. So I'd get rid of the 6 again. I was a fan at the beginning, not anymore. I don't like it. So yeah, that'd be the 2 things that I'd do. I'd change the way you bring your 18th and potentially 19th man in, and I'd get rid of the 6 again.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have more interchanges, because as well, from a fatigue perspective, you see a lot of action at the end of games.
I would say exemption for an interchange if something like what Saints had. You should never have to go down to 12 men because of an injury. So I would say there should be some sort of exemption there.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm on about obviously with regards to the question, the
overall number
of interchanges. Yeah. Obviously, there's caveats to it, like if it's injuries or if there's a certain amount of players on the bench or anything like that. But yeah, I think it increases. Like, would St Helens have scored that left to right try if it weren't for fatigue? Because Leeds were out on the feet chasing him around at the end. Things like, just like, I think it does bring that excitement in the last 10 minutes, because teams are tired. You get more line breaks, you get more missed tackles, and that sort of jazz. So I don't think I'd like to see the number of interchanges increased.
The interchanges, I give a bit more advantage rather than teams constantly be able to rotate fresh big men in constantly. It does, like say, give you the opportunities at the back end of the field for smaller players to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Anyway, next question. This is from Brian, our good friend. Not Brian. Barry. Not Brian's his brother.
Because is this come from Watson?
Yeah.
His niece has just come in for a pint with her husband, sat down there, and they've just left. And I thought he was going to do this question first. I was going to say,
should we get him up?
Steph's on there. We'll get him up and they give a wave on the camera. But
so this is a very serious question, especially with what's going on in Westminster at the minute. Hi Jimmy, hope you're okay, mate. I've left you alone for a few months, so here goes my question. If you could vote for a current or past rugby league player for Prime Minister, who would it be? And then he says, I'd go with Barry McDermott because he speaks well and he'd batter anyone if they disagree with him.
It's valid.
Completely thrown with this because when you said I'll do the serious one first, I thought that was the serious one. Anyway, I'll go quickly to it. Kevin Sinfield, he's incredibly intelligent. He obviously has a lot of compassion. The guy's putting his blood, sweat and tears into a cause right now, and the way he talks and the way he comes across stuff, you just think that, is this somebody that stood in front of my country? Do I believe that he's got my best interest at heart and do that? Now I know it's massively caveated. His rugby player was doing it for his mate who died, but that's my answer. I think if he stood there, I'd trust Sinfield and go, yeah, do you know what? I love you.
Fair enough.
I think we all had Sinfield in our head judging by that reaction.
Well, I had him wrote down because I prepare.
I prepared, just mentally.
I was going along the same routes as Barry with this. I'd go for someone like JWH. Just
An enforcer.
You just enforce everything. He's like, yeah, what do you mean you don't agree? Come and have it then. And as an Aussie, you technically can run for Prime Minister in the UK.
But he's a Kiwi.
Are they part of the Commonwealth?
Yes, I think
Yeah, that's fine then, isn't
So
it?
my concern with that is if we ever had a Prime Minister that isn't British. I know we've had a James Bond that isn't.
No,
But this is the
there
next big one, isn't it?
I think there is a Kiwi or an Aussie as an MP at the minute.
Not Prime Minister, are they?
No, but it could be. If we want a country full of racists. If we liked him.
Wow.
Cancelled in the morning.
It cancelled in the... Sorry, I'm putting it out tonight.
Do you two want to throw a different name in if I've pinched yours?
I had Sinfield, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if it was a serious one, obviously it would be.
Yeah, I can't think past Sinfield.
Okay, change to El Crabtree then. He's just qualified for a new degree. If you've seen this, he's doing real well, Crabtree. Post career, he's gone into business, he's doing this, he's gone properly, not just like an honorary one, he's gone back to uni, and I think it's good to see players, should be in the news this probably, but it's good to see players post rugby life doing well if it's outside the game. And I also think he's somebody that, if he was stood there telling you you're doing it, I know he was like a big soft giant, wasn't he? You know,
I don't know.
looks like Tarzan, played like Jane type of guy, but he is massive.
Say that to his face.
And I don't think you would say it to his face, is my point.
If we're going down that road, then you've got to go for Tom Briscoe, aren't you? Like, the guy's going to be Dr. Briscoe in a couple of months, by all accounts, with his PhD.
Oh, is that what his hair's about, so he can swish out his way and say, call me doctor?
Yeah. Anyway,
We digress.
Yeah, we could stick on this for a while. I
We
think,
really could.
and,
I only want to so I can get the producers to start getting mad. That's just my favourite part.
I'm in the corner of my eye, I'm seeing Dean
Yeah, but
Sam
if
do
you
that.
don't look at them.
I'm trying not to, but I've got,
He's got them glasses with the mirror there, so
Oh,
he
he's waving my eye drop. I've got to have my eye drop for my gammy eye, so yeah. Cut.
So me, monthly cause. As you're probably aware, last Sunday, if you've listened or watched the pod last Sunday I did the 10k run for MND for Craig Escritts, MND Hull. And on a personal note, I'm currently doing really well on my sponsorships. I don't have a total figure for the total event, but hopefully I can get you that within a week or two. It's going really well, and the amount of awareness raised, radio on the side were absolutely massive. They were interviewing runners as I was walking around and things like that. It was a very well attended event. You know, it was all in good spirits, and it was absolutely brilliant. So obviously it is done, but there is a QR code at the bottom of the screen. If you fancy donating or sharing it with somebody, the money is still being accepted, and obviously it all goes towards this great cause. So if you could do that, it'd be absolutely fantastic. If you can just share it with somebody, that's also fantastic for us all. So hopefully, like I say, making it a yearly thing. I'll probably be doing it again next year, much to my chagrin, but it's what it is, and it's all for a good cause, so it's all worth it.
Just before we start talking about next week's game, which we don't want to talk about, I don't want to talk about, we have had a message from viewer, listener Alex, and it's kind of one that's close to all of us. Just a quick request to promote the launch of a new under-8 Lambworth Lions team. Lambworth being a team that we all played for, everyone, literally, behind the counter, except for Alicia, because they're not allowed. Playing tag rugby for the remainder of this year, making it the perfect introduction to rugby league for boys and girls of all abilities. Training at Eastmount Recreation Centre, Long Hill, Saturday mornings at 9 AM, matches on Wednesday evenings. Kids can learn new skills, make friends, build confidence, and most importantly, have a fun and safe, welcoming environment. New players are always welcome. So if you're in that area of Hull and you've got a kid under the age of 8, you want to get them involved in rugby league, take them down to Eastmount on a Saturday morning and
see what it's about.
Lamworth.
Best thing they'll ever do.
Yeah.
Maybe not while they're doing it, but after the fact. We discussed this. What's the thing you miss most about playing? I think we discussed it end of last season, and a few of us said the social side of things. Some of us said the physicality of it. And honestly, while they're doing it, they might not appreciate it, but when they've finished and they get that to look back on.
And they can't lift their arm above their shoulder.
Like me right now, yes, I'm fully aware that's what you was getting at. But yeah, it's the best thing they'll ever do from a social side of it. I stopped playing for 5 years and I've gone back. All right, yes, I'm playing the other code, but best decision I've made to go back and play in the social side of things. Just the whole being in a team, it's just superb.
I agree. So, anyway, let's talk about the upcoming derby.
It's on Thursday, move on.
It is on Thursday. Yeah. Aye.
Neither of us are confident this week.
No, to be
I don't know
fair,
about
Magic
Josh.
Weekend, I think I said this is the best opportunity we've got. I think
Are you taking that back as well?
I'm taking that back because I think the way that you've played, especially over the last couple of weeks, the potential bans that you might have coming in, I think this might be a better opportunity for us. But then on the flip side of that, I also think, what are the chances that your lot are gonna play bad 3 weeks in a row?
There's your problem. You need us to play bad. That says more. That's the reality of it. And if it wasn't that, if it was, Rose been poor for a couple of weeks, Mikey's probably going to be banned. We know how to put an 80-minute, even a 65-minute performance in. We'll go in confidence. The reality is, you don't know which FC is going to turn up and how many minutes they'll turn up for.
That's the main thing.
We don't know what Rovers is going to turn up. If we keep true to form, we're going to play poor against the top 6 teams. And now that we're out that top 6, how is that going to change? Because nobody below that, if we had that trouble against, we played poor and beat them. You can rinse and repeat the preview we had the other week. The reality now is everything just moves on one. It's still July 2023 since you beat us. So it's 3 years. That's what it has to end at some point. It can't go on forever, can it? It could be this week. It's 7 derby losses in a row you've got. Are we going to make it 8? Maybe not. The reality is, at some point,
I thought it already was 8. I thought Magic was 8.
is it in the league 7 or 6?
Maybe X. We had the cup game as well, didn't we? Yeah.
But at some point it has to end. And again, it's probably your best opportunity. But I don't have faith. I have more faith in my club and in our players that they will turn around and have a performance on Thursday than I do that your team can play for 80 minutes.
100%.
The only thing that gives me confidence.
Your team have a history, like we've already mentioned, over the last 2, 3, 4 years of playing good, attractive, solid rugby league, and our team have had a history over the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years of not playing good, attractive, solid rugby league. So, it's it is a better opportunity for us than even Magic, I think. But after watching what we did against York and after watching what we churned out this weekend, albeit with a decent 30-odd minutes thrown in there in the second half, we have to play the way we played in that second half. That 30, even 25, their first 25, until they got their players in bin, basically. We have to play like that for 80 minutes to even have a chance. And we haven't seen that all year.
No.
So.
I mean, the thing is, there's going to be some big decisions made on selection. Obviously, if we do have Mikey, something's gone wrong in the disciplinary system. He shouldn't be there. We've got decisions to make on who's going to go where. Whether that's Hampshire comes in the house, whether Charles gets to go, whether we put Morg there, Jez goes there, and we have Leyland. Okay, there's so much we can do. We'll have decisions to make during the week. But touch wood, there isn't really any big injuries in the forwards. We've got Tavita Pangai Jr. banned still, and we don't know about Burgess. That's about it, what we're looking at. There might be a few more knocks. For you guys, we'll be looking at, you should have people like Martin back, and there should be some more fitness and some more legs in some of the players like SAS that have been returning. For me personally, I see it as a really close one. Could go either way is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis is the big one, and at the end of the day, it's a lot of points for you when you're playing, and to not have him is a big factor because you can't easily replace that with any other players in your squad. I still think you can have too much for it realistically, though. Is the honest answer.
I think if we get our squad rotation right this week, easy for me to say, then we've got, we're saying about Hull having their best chance. If we get our rotation right and we do rotate players, which we absolutely need, and we're going to need it even more so in a few weeks when we've got them 3 games in 10 days, I think it's the middle of August, isn't it? Then that gives us better odds in our favour because we've got players that haven't really played who are probably better than what Hull have got at the moment.
If it was me and I was Willie Peters this week, I'd be saying if Mike is out, I'd be putting Jez in at 6, and Jez as an out-and-out hooker is still a better 6 than what we've got available.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning. I didn't want it to sound too derogatory because I'm not Josh.
I don't think it is derogatory. It's fact. It's just.
But some people won't see it like that. That's why I was sort of erring on the side of caution. Some people
we try and be.
We do, yeah. I get that. And on sort of an off the field sort of direction, if you will, I don't think ticket sales have been brilliant for this one. So.
Game fatigue, don't it? We only played you 3 weeks ago.
And not only that, it's a Thursday night as well.
Obviously, we'll play you 3 times in the year in the league with the Magic weekend.
If the Magic fixtures fall as that, yeah.
There's normally a friendly. We sometimes draw you in the cup match. All right, we've been nowhere near the playoffs, but less of that.
To be fair though, we've only drawn you once in the cup.
Too many derbies. Always a mess about with how many tickets you give us, how many tickets we give you, all this noise, and it's so actually the MKM isn't your stadium, so you shouldn't get to pick that we only get 5% or 10%. All fucking noise and bullshit that we don't need. The reality is people are fatigued from watching derbies between the two clubs, and they're fatigued from watching it when we've dominated for 3 years. So people aren't interested in seeing that. You'd think by now you'd get a rise and people would go, oh, maybe you'll win this one, which maybe you will. That's absolutely fair. You've got a hell of a chance. But we thought that 2 weeks ago and it didn't happen. It's not of interest to people.
I mean, the ticket thing winds me up. I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, you should get the North Stand. That's it, done.
Agreed.
Just have the North Stand. I agree with. I understand why with the previous regime they used to give some of the West up there because they were trying to claw money in. Our current owners, they don't need the money.
Yeah.
The club aren't struggling in any way like that. But we can't be giving you more tickets than we need to because it just gives you a bit more of an home advantage. We have to try and restrict it. So.
Right then, quick run through predictions, and no update this week obviously because we're still Sunday, we've still got Leeds game to go, and just to keep it succinct we're just going to do the presenters and not Dean and Susan. So start off Thursday night, Hull FC, Hull KR. I might upset the apple cart a little bit here, I've got Hull by 4.
KR 7.
Hull by 4.
KR 10.
Hull by 10. Okay, so Wakefield Castleford Friday night, I've got Cast by 16.
Wakey by 12.
Wakey by 14.
Wakey 14.
Wakey 14. Wigan Saints, I've got Wigan by 20.
Wigan by 6.
Wigan by 22.
Wigan by 8.
8. Just me going big then. York versus Huddersfield, I've got York by 10.
York by 10 as well.
York by 14.
York by 14.
Nice. Leigh versus Warrington, I've got Leigh by 10.
Leigh by 8.
Warrington by 2.
Leigh by 10.
10. Toulouse versus Catalans, home by 8. So Toulouse by 8.
Toulouse 14.
Toulouse 10.
Toulouse 16.
16. And then Leeds Bradford, Leeds by 22.
Leeds 16.
Leeds 20.
Leeds 14.
Do you really go Cast? That's wild.
Cass.
Yeah.
You did say Cass, and I'm not having you changing it shoes all the time. Right,
I've
we
got
are in.
Wakefield by 16.
You said then, Cass. I'm telling you now. We're going to wrap up. We're in a bit of a rush to get off. Just want to say thank you to everyone that watches, likes, subscribes. Remember to hype on YouTube as always. We are in a rush to finish this one, so we'll do it quickly. See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.